Hello and welcome to Radiance by J Naturals. Today we are going to be making some liquid soap. And when I say liquid soap, this time around, I do not mean liquid detergent. Liquid detergent is the one you use things like SLS, cocamidopropylbetaine, and the rest to make. However, when you say liquid soap, what you mean is soap that is made by using lye to react with oils to give you a cleansing substance. Okay, so we are going to be making liquid soap, and this kind of liquid soap is usually called Castile style soap, though Castile soap is usually made with olive oil, but we are going to be using oils that are locally available here in Nigeria to make it. And I want to welcome you especially to my channel. If this is a kind of video that you would like to see, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that when next I upload a video like this, you'd be the first to know. So our ingredients today, we are having our oils in this stainless bowl. And what kind of oils have I used? Remember to check the description box because the complete recipe is going to be right there in the description box. And in this bowl, I have my palm kernel oil, 450 grams of palm kernel oil. I have my palm oil, red palm oil, 60 grams. I have castor oil, 30 grams. And I have shea butter, 60 grams. So the total amount of oils I have here is about 600 grams. That's what we have here in this bowl. And then in here, I have distilled water. Please make use of distilled water when making your soap. That would give you the best results and it will make your soap not to get bad easily. So in this, I have about 263 grams of distilled water, and I've also added 50 grams of glycerin, and I have added sodium lactate, 6 grams of sodium lactate. So sodium lactate is a salt. It helps to make the soap, the resulting soap, to become thicker, and the glycerin is to add more bubbles and to moisturize because this is going to be a bathing soap. So that's what I have here. And then this is going to be a dual lye soap. What it means is that I'm going to be using 2 different types of lye to make this soap. So I'm going to be using sodium hydroxide. I have about 24.5 grams of sodium hydroxide, and I have about 105 grams of potassium hydroxide. So why am I using dual lye? Usually when you want to make liquid soap, you use potassium hydroxide. It gives you a softer or more liquid kind of soap. And then when you want to make a solid bar soap, you use sodium hydroxide. That gives you a bar soap. But in this recipe, because I want the soap to become thick, I am using both potassium and sodium hydroxide. I'm using 75% potassium hydroxide and 25% sodium hydroxide. So what it gives you is a thicker liquid soap, and it also gives you a more dense bubble. Like, it makes the bubbles to be very dense and very beautiful. You love it. So this is a dual lye soap, as I have said. So these are all the ingredients that we need for now to make the base of this soap, and we are going to go right into it. So the first thing we are going to do is to dissolve our lye to make a lye solution. You know, like I said, in here I have my glycerin, I have my sodium lactate and distilled water, and into it I'm going to add my sodium hydroxide. Now remember, whenever you are making soap or you are making anything whereby you are using lye, do not add your water to the lye. Add the lye to the water. If you add water to lye, there is possibility of what is called a volcano. Like, it will have a lot of fumes and it may pour all over the place and cause injury. So I'm just going to make sure I get out all the lye because it has been carefully measured. And in soap making, the most important thing is measurement. If you don't get the measurement right, your soap may not form. So you have to make sure that you measure it exactly the way it's supposed to be. So I have this. I'm also going to make sure I get out all the lye from the other containers. So this is what we have. Now, if you are wondering how I got the exact measurement of the lye that I used, and if you don't want to make this amount, you want to make a different amount, how can you know how much lye to use? I am going to show you at the end of this video the tool that I use. It's called a lye calculator, and it's very easy to get them online. So that's just what I use to get the measurement of my lye for soap making. There are many types of lye calculators online. If you just go online and you type lye calculator, you see different types pop up, and you can just make use of anyone that you can understand. But I will show you the one I used. So please, I don't know if it's too late to say this, but you have to exercise very serious caution when you are working with lye. Ideally, you should have your gloves on to prevent the lye solution from spilling on your skin. And you should also wear clothing that is covering your body, like long sleeves if possible. And then you should also, when working with lye, use eye goggles, safety goggles, so that there will not be any splash on your face. For me, I usually stay quite a distance away from the lye. I'm actually standing behind the tripod I'm using to record, so I'm not very close to the lye. Another thing is that you must work in a well ventilated area, because the lye, especially potassium hydroxide, it usually gives off these fumes, and it's not good for you to inhale it. So this is actually quite hot, so you must make sure it doesn't pour on your body, because when you get lye burns, it can cause very serious chemical burns. Lye is a substance that you don't want to joke around with. And if you are making soap at home, you have children, please keep your lye out of the sight and reach of children, because it can even lead to very serious health problems and blindness and even death. So please express caution when using lye. Keep your lye out of the reach and sight, and make sure your children are not hanging around when you are making soap. You can make soap when they are in school or when they are not around, or if you have a place. So, and also I said work in a well ventilated area. So for this soap, I did not melt my oils. I want to use the heat from the lye solution to melt the oils. Usually what would happen is would melt down this and we'll allow this to cool before making soap. That's the usual method of making soap. But today we're going to use the heat from this to melt this, so it's just going to give it a balanced something. But we need to make sure that the lye is actually dissolved. We need to make sure that there are no particles of lye before we make use of it. So I want to stir it so that I can even get a very accurate, yeah, so you can see 78, 79. So I think the 79.5 is the temperature, and it's okay for me. I want to use it. It has dissolved completely, you can see. Get the spoon out of it. So this is like my own version of a live video, because I am not doing voiceovers. I'm telling you the way it is happening. So this was my lump of shea butter. So I'm going to be adding this gradually. Please add gradually. Then you stir, and you can see a reaction happening already. That is called saponification. So this is going to melt down everything to make it uniform. So you keep stirring. Don't stop stirring at all. Just keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring, keep stirring, because we're actually using hard oils, but you can see that even the shea butter is melting down. Now I'm going to keep this, and I'm going to use my whisk. So the whisk is better to incorporate everything. We're going to stir, 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 stir very well. This reaction, actually, I just want to see the temperature at 63. You want to do this carefully so you don't splash soap on your body. So you stir, 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 stir. I'm going to stop the video now so I can stir very well rigorously, right? So when you get that, so you're going to keep stirring until you see that the soap no longer has those I don't know how to call it, grainy, we are having some grainy kind of thing going on. So until you see the soap start becoming more uniform, I don't know if you can see it. So when it starts becoming like a more uniform thing, you know that you are on your way. If you have a stick blender, you can use it. Actually, I have a stick blender and I do use it, but I'm making this video to show you that whether you have a stick blender or not, you can actually make your soap. You don't necessarily need a stick blender, unless if you are making very large quantities of soap, which may be tiring for you to keep stirring. But if you just want to make a small quantity of soap, having a stick blender or not should not be an excuse. So this is what it's looking like now. It has become a paste. So right now it's still not ready to use. We need to leave it be for a while to heat up very well, because we need it to get to what is called gel phase, and that gel phase is what's going to make it to become transparent. So right now we need to cover it up. So I'm trying to clear up my whisk, and I'm going to put it together with the So this is your soap paste actually. So we're going to cover this that has come together like this. We're going to cover it and leave it covered in a very warm place. You have to leave it in a warm place if you want it to get to that gel phase that we're talking about. Okay. You have to cover it and keep it warm. Cover it very well with a towel, and then you keep it. At this point it's actually hot, so you need to be careful. You can see it's hot, so you just cover it properly and keep it in a very warm area, because usually this is done using hot process, but we are not using hot process. This method, I call it semi-hot process, so you need to keep it warm regardless. So this was after 3 days. This is what our soap paste looks like after 3 days. And then yesterday I soaked some of it just to see if it was going to turn out clear, like a kind of clarity test. And this is how it is. It is quite clear, and from all indications is going to make a thick soup. So I'm going to be soaking the rest of it, and I'm going to be putting the exact measurements I'm using in the description box. And then after everything dissolves, I'm just going to add the preservative, and I'm going to leave it to like sequester it so that it will cure, because even though it is liquid soap and you can literally use it immediately it is melted, but it is better to leave it to cure so that it will be milder on the skin and it will achieve its fullest lather. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing. Please read the description box. All the necessary information is going to be there. Hello everyone, so this is the next day. This is like day 3 of making this soap, and I got tired of waiting. I decided to use my stick blender to blend it after adding some more water, because the other water just got swallowed up by the soap. So I used my stick blender, and that's why it's looking like this. It is actually going to become very transparent by the time all the foam has gone out. So if you don't want this foaming stuff happening, you can just be patient enough to allow it to get melted in water. However, I've also already added my preservative into it. I added liquid Germal Plus to it. I'm going to put all the measurements in the description box, so please do well to read that. So the only extra ingredient I'm adding to this soap is glycerin. Before now we already made it with glycerin, but I'm adding some extra glycerin for that skin care goodness. I'm doing this video in lazy mode. I don't even have energy to set my tripod, so I'm using my hand to do it. So I'm adding some extra glycerin. I will put the measurements of the glycerin I added in the description box. Yeah, I added about 65 grams extra of glycerin just for that skin moisturizing goodness. So I'm just going to give this a very good mix, and I'll keep it till it clears up. I'm going to cover it with some cling film, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Oh, I need to add at this point I think I should add my fragrance. Okay, and my fragrance is already mixed with ethanol, with alcohol. The alcohol also helps to reduce the foam too. So this is my fragrance that has already been solubilized. If you want to see how I got this, I'm going to link a video in the description box that showed me making a room spray. So this is basically like the way I made the room spray. What is here is just ethanol, fragrance, polysorbate 80, and water. So because I made excess of it and I don't need it, and I want to use the same fragrance in my soap, that's why I'm using it. So this is not pure fragrance oil, please. You can actually add your fragrance oil if you have a fragrance oil, but I prefer to solubilize any fragrance I'm using for my soap. I find it easier to use when solubilized. So I'm just going to mix in my fragrance. So in this concluding part of the video, I want to show you our soap, and we want to test the lather. Although the lather is not completely the way it should be yet, because we are going to sequester this for at least 4 to 6 weeks before we start using it. However, we can still test the lather from here. So this is all the soap that I was able to make from these oils. I have this 1 liter, this is about 200 mils, and this like 500 mils. So I had 1.7 liters from the about 600 grams of oils that I used. So I diluted the soap already with some distilled water. Ensure that you are using distilled water to dilute your soap, just like you saw me doing. Don't use ordinary water, because that is going to make your soap to go bad easily. So I'm going to put the ratio, the amount of water I used to dilute the soap in the description box, as I've been saying. Now I want to see what the soap looks like. This is the consistency of the soap. It is not very thick or gel like, because I didn't add any thickener. So, and then you have to dilute your soap with enough water so that you don't have too much soap in the product. Okay, so you should be able to dilute your soap with enough water, because if you want to leave it to be as thick as it would be, you have too much soap in the solution. In this solution, we have about 50% of soap, and then the rest is water and other liquids, which I'll be putting in the description box. So this is what it looks like. It is going to become clearer after a while. After sequestering it for a while, it's going to become clearer. So I want to wash my hands with the soap so that you can see how it looks. So this is it. So I'm going to wash my hands with the soap. So this is that little amount I added. So you can see the lather we got from that little amount of soap. And it smells wonderful, really, because the fragrance is... So you can see how it is. It is a creamy soap. It is not going to strip your skin of oils. If you experience dryness after bathing, your skin becomes all dry, then you need this kind of soap in your life. Okay, so this is it. It doesn't strip your body of moisture. So it's going to become more, it's going to have more lather as it cures. This is not the final ladder. We're just doing a ladder test to show you what it looks like preliminary. So you can see the ladder on it. It has bubbly ladder because of the palm kernel oil, yet it is creamy because of the shea butter and the castor oil we have in it. It has a wonderful feel. Just imagine having your bath with this kind of soap. It feels beautiful on my skin. You can use this soap for your bath soap, for that of your children. You can use it as hand wash liquid. You know, if you are tired of using hand wash that will just dry out your skin, you can make this soap and use it as a hand wash liquid. And this is what we have for the soap. Thank you so much for watching this video to this point. If you found this video useful and you'll be trying this soap recipe, don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you'll see more videos like this. Bye.